Have you ever read a story that literally made your heart beat faster? Or maybe you read something that made you feel incredibly frustrated and you couldn't quite put your finger on why. Well, here's the secret. It wasn't an accident. Every single word an author chooses is a highly deliberate tool. Since you're an 8th grader now, you're tackling much more complex texts, and honestly, you're stepping into the role of being an advanced writer yourself. So in today's explainer, we're going to unlock the secret behind that power. We are decoding diction. Now, diction is really just a fancy academic term for word choice, and we're going to see exactly how it builds the mood, the voice, and the tone of absolutely everything you read and write.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with the power of word choice, and then break down 3 main literary pillars: shaping the mood, finding the author's voice, and setting the right tone. After that, we'll do a quick reading comprehension check and wrap up with the morality of our words. Section 1. The power of word choice, and why words matter.
You see, word choice is never random. Words act kind of like a steering wheel, directly steering the reader's emotions and thoughts. When you master it, you literally gain control over how your readers feel. And listen, this isn't just some neat academic trick to get a good grade in English class. It's a deep, real-world truth. Proverbs 16:24 tells us, "Gracious words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones." Just think about that imagery for a second. Sweet, healing. Words have an actual physical, emotional, and spiritual impact on the people who consume them. The way we craft our sentences matters deeply.
Section 2. Shaping the mood. Let's look at how the text feels.
So, this first pillar is all about how the text feels to you, the reader. Mood is the feeling or the atmosphere that the author's word choices create for the reader. I want you to imagine the mood as the emotional room you step into the second you open a book. Are you stepping into a sunny, bright kitchen or a dark, damp, creepy basement? The author builds that entire room completely out of words.
For example, look at these words right here: gloomy, foggy, silent. If an author groups these specific words together in a paragraph, what happens? You instantly feel it, right? It builds this suspenseful, edge-of-your-seat mood. The hair on the back of your neck might even stand up. Notice the author didn't have to just come out and say, "Hey, this is a scary situation." Nope, they just used words that naturally cast a shadow over your imagination.
Let's move to Section 3, finding the author's voice, how the author sounds.
Okay, now we're shifting gears from how the text feels to how the author sounds. Voice is the unique personality, style, or sound of the narrator or author. Have you ever read a textbook that sounded like a robot wrote it? Yeah, we all have. That's a total lack of voice. Strong voice is what makes an author sound like a distinct, living, breathing human being. It's basically their fingerprint left right there on the page.
Well, that went downhill faster than a sled on ice. Instantly, you know something about this narrator, right? They aren't formal. They aren't stiff. They use everyday expressions. This specific diction creates a casual, playful, and humorous voice. You can almost hear the author chuckling as they say it.
Section 4. Setting the right tone, or the author's attitude.
Tone is super closely related to voice and mood, but it has a very specific job. Tone is the author's attitude toward the subject they are writing about. So the absolute crucial point here is understanding the difference between the two. Mood is how the words make you, the reader, feel. Tone is how the author feels about whatever they're discussing. Are they angry about it? Are they mocking it? Are they super respectful? And this brilliantly illustrates that exact difference. Imagine you're reading an article about a politician who has a wild new idea for a city. The author on the left calls them a visionary leader. That diction sets a highly respectful, admiring tone. But the author on the right calls that exact same politician a reckless dreamer. That diction sets a highly critical, super skeptical tone. Just 2 words completely change the author's attitude toward the whole subject.
Section 5. Reading Comprehension Check. Let's test your skills.
All right, let's see how well you can apply these pillars. Think about a book you've read recently, or just imagine a sentence right now in your head. If you want to create a cheerful mood, what specific words are doing the heavy lifting? You wouldn't use gloomy or shattered, right? No way. You'd use words like breezy, glowing, laughter, or sparkled. When you read, I want you to start actively hunting for these emotion-building words.
Here's another question to ponder. How can an author's voice actually stay consistent across an entire book? Think about it. It requires incredible discipline. An author has to deeply know their character's personality. If your narrator is that humorous, casual person we talked about earlier, they can't suddenly start using giant, formal college vocabulary in Chapter 4 unless there's a really specific reason. The words absolutely have to match the personality, page after page.
Okay, let's try a creative swap. Imagine this sentence: he walked into the happy house. Now, I want you to change that one word, happy, to make the mood completely suspenseful. How about he walked into the silent house? Or he walked into the abandoned house? Do you see how swapping just one single piece of diction drastically alters the entire scene? You hold that exact same power when you write.
Section 6. The Morality of Words. Honoring God with Diction.
Now that we've analyzed how other people use words, let's warmly shift our focus to taking responsibility for our own. Proverbs 18:21 reminds us that death and life are in the power of the tongue. Just as authors carefully, meticulously select words to shape a fictional story, we have a profound duty to select our words carefully in reality to honor God. Your words are not empty, guys. They carry real weight. They bring life or they bring harm.
So how do we actually apply this in everyday life? Well, here is your practical diction checklist for the real world. Step 1. Bring truth. Always use words that are honest and factual. Step 2. Offer encouragement. Use diction that builds people up instead of tearing them down. And step 3. Show grace. Even when you have to speak a really hard truth, you can frame your words with kindness.
This brings us right to a core foundation of your education here. The HeroesMart Academy Godly Learners philosophy is all about intelligence aligned with morality. We intertwine biblical morality with your education for a very specific reason, because education without morality can actually hurt people. Knowledge and intelligence should always help you make wise, God-honoring choices, rather than simply making you more capable. Think about it. If you just become really smart and really good at manipulating words, but you don't have a moral compass, you can easily use that knowledge for the wrong things.
Romans 8:6-7 teaches us that keeping the mind spiritually minded leads to life and peace. As you pursue academic excellence, as you literally learn to master mood, voice, and tone, you must keep your mind centered on God, truth, wisdom, and righteous choices. You are learning these advanced skills so you can be an incredibly effective communicator for good in this world. So as you head out today, I'm going to leave you with this provocative question to ponder. With life and death in the power of your tongue, what kind of world are you going to build with the words you choose today?